because of that predictable experience the client will have in the first 8 years. They're going to get a bonus on everything they give us, and they can receive interest crediting on top of that. So again, different indexes, tax-deferred growth, all the things that we look at for a late saver. Now, if we look at Frank, remember Frank had a lot of money or a good amount of money, and he just didn't have any plans, and he needed predictable income in the short term. So he's diligently saved in his 403B and is quickly approaching retirement. He does not feel comfortable with the idea that he has to make money to last. He has to make his money last the rest of his life. Nobody feels comfortable about that. So at least for a portion, if you're not incorporating this into all of your planning and all the work you're doing with clients, in my opinion, there should be a portion of their retirement income that's guaranteed outside of Social Security, outside of pensions they may have at work, although diminishing, they're still out there. There should be some type of autopilot feature when it comes to retirement income. Most people manage their finances that way. They're used to getting a couple of checks a month, via work. So it seems to be a very natural assimilation into retirement, and people like to manage things, on a predetermined basis. And, they like to have a portion of their assets they can go after for special events, and they want a good amount of it on autopilot, at least in my experience. I was only out in the field for 5 years, but clients did seem to be drawn to having some type of guaranteed income in the short term. So let's get back to Frank. He wants liquidity and income through certainty. All right, so he wants guaranteed income, and he wants to be liquid after he separates from service. So this is our plug for the emergency access waiver. Obviously, he has a 403B, and he's going to take advantage of the certain income, which obviously, like all the income riders, is 90 basis points and provides for an option for lifetime income without having to annuitize. All right, so the Fit Certain Income provides for a 12% bonus. This is all on the income side. I repeat, this is all on the income side. A 12% bonus on every dollar that comes in the door, and a 6% simple growth rate until income begins. Okay? So 12 and 6. If you've sold our Fit Guaranteed Income, that's 14 and 7. This is its cousin on the flexible premium side. Works very similarly. Okay? So if you have someone that has a shorter time horizon but needs to continue to contribute, and they want to make sure those contributions go towards the largest guaranteed income the National Life can provide for them in the short term, this is the product you want to use, okay? So as you can see, on the top, 12% bonus, 6% growth for 30 years, okay? That's how long we can defer this. If you wait longer than that, it'll essentially freeze in time, and you probably should have used the Fit Select Income. As you can see, we have the payouts here as well. So at 65, the payout is 4.5. At 70, it's at 5%. Okay? So obviously, as you can imagine, with those bonuses and that predetermined growth rate, regardless of how the indexing does, this will provide for some very competitive guaranteed income as it relates to other options they have out in the marketplace. Okay? It's a strong product. Just like the rest of these, they're very strong and they're very specific to the client they serve. Just make sure you understand Fit Certain Income is a shorter time horizon, emphasis on guarantees, emphasis on predictability. That's who this product is for. Okay, so here's an example. 53-year-old, Fit Certain Income, $300 a month with $150,000 rollover. Okay? So day one, 150, 300 comes in. That's the rollover in the first month. Assuming their account value performs 3% annually, after 10 years, that 150 and change in this example is worth $243,421. Okay? It's an example. This example is to highlight the power of the benefit base and what it means to the clients. So, same contribution, 150 grand, $300 a month. That's worth 169, 117 day one because of the bonus of 12%. It grows at 6% simple, so that portion of their annuity or that portion of their contributions results in $323,578 of income benefit base. All right. So after year 10, they can take an income stream off that $323,578. If they didn't have the income rider and they had a 3% annualized return, which is a pretty fair return on a fixed indexed annuity, you'd see what they'd be leaving on the table. Granted, it's grown and that's great, but if their goal in year 10 or year 11 is to turn on an income stream, which one of these options would you want? Obviously, the answer is self-explanatory. Now, just like the Fit Select income, you can also take a look at the income here at 63. All right. So again, this is the same scenario. End of year 10, they take out their guaranteed withdrawal income, which is $13,816. After that, their account value is worth $229,605. Let's say they earned a 2% interest rate. Okay, that's what that would equate to. And then the rider fee would be 90 basis points of the 234,197. Okay. On the right-hand side is where we see where we got the 13,816 from. So their benefit base, 323,578. At age 63, the payout rate is 4.3. Do some simple math there. Guaranteed income is 13,816. So here are the next two slides are just product comparisons. So we broke them out. The first section is going to be the accumulation options. So you can see there's no income rider down below. It's only the emergency access waiver and the nursing care and terminal illness. So nursing care and terminal illness are waivers of the surrender charge if the client is confined to a skilled nursing facility or they receive a terminal diagnosis. There's no fee for these riders. They're baked into all of our products. Sometimes we do get calls on them. It's just a feature of the contract that is in the client's best interest and our best interest. God forbid they're in a real tough spot. We'll waive the surrender. But I wouldn't be leading with this as a feature or benefit. It's just more of a piece of the contract. Discuss it, but don't lead with it. We have the minimum premium, $100 a month, or $5,000 single sum. Cumulative premium amounts, you can see there based on ages, $1 million up to 70, $750 to 75. And then for ongoing transfers, we're only going to allow those in the first 5 years. Okay. So if you know you're going to go after a rollover in a couple of years, just make sure it's within this 5-year window if you're going to use one of these products. On the flip side, we have the income solutions. So Fit Certain Income, Fit Select Income. Good news about realizing which ones you need to use the income rider on and which ones you don't. If income is in the name, you're going to use the GLEAR. If growth is in the name, you're not. But you can see down below, the really only difference here is the mandatory guaranteed lifetime income rider, 90 basis point annual fee based on the calculation base and deducted from the accumulated value. Okay? So that is the difference. Half of these are for income, half of these are for accumulation. On the accumulation side, some are for short term, one's for short term, one's for long term. On the income side, one's for a shorter time horizon, one's for a longer time horizon. So I think you're starting to see why we developed these the way we did and who they are designed for. It really always boils down to the client's time horizon and really what their goal is for the money. But the first thing is their time horizon. If they tell you they have a very long time horizon, you're probably looking at the secure growth or the select income. Now it's just a matter of do they want the income rider or not. Same holds true on the short end. If they have a 5-year time horizon, it's either fit rewards growth or fit certain income. It's just a matter of is this portion of their retirement money or not, or money they're earmarking for retirement, is this portion geared for guaranteed income or not? Deborah, we don't have an example of the hardship. It would just be the accumulated value in that year. But when we have the illustrator on the 20th, we will be able to illustrate that. But essentially, the client's liquid. That's really what the client needs to know. All right, so now let's go through the engine that's going to drive these things. Deborah, I'd have to check if they could resume contributions after they've taken a hardship. I'm sure they can. I don't know that answer off the top of my head, but I can follow up with you after. I'd be happy to. David, this is not recorded, but the deck will be sent out, and we have plenty of these trainings over the next few weeks. So try and join us again when your schedule permits. All right, so let's take a look at this deck here, which I want to make sure they're the same. Yeah, they are. So here are the rates on the indexing options. Point-to-point, annual cap. On the reward, you can see the products on the top here. And then the rate will correspond underneath. So as you would imagine, the select income and secure growth, longer time horizons, have the higher caps for the most part because they have a longer time horizon. Okay? Rewards growth, still a much stronger cap than the Paramount 5. But remember, the client's getting a bonus of 5% on their contributions. And the certain income, obviously with the rich nature of the income rider on their product, it has an effect on obviously all the pricing. So the cap is a little lower there. Okay, as you'd imagine across the board, it's going to be lower except for the low vol. Okay. No, I apologize. That's the threshold. So that's the highest threshold. So yeah, you'll see across the board, the certain income will be lowest in the performance because of what's being given on the income side. All right. So monthly sum, you can see those caps are lower. Obviously, this is a monthly number, the 145. It's a monthly number, the 2%, et cetera. The point-to-point uncapped. So in the secure growth and the select income, you have a 90 and 95% participation rate with no cap. So in those good years, you should be able to benefit from solid performance. And over time, that'll outweigh the years where you may, receive a little bit lower. Someone raising their hand here. Ken, you can just fire away in the chat box if you have any questions. I see that your hand was raised. I don't know how to call on you, but feel free to chat any questions. And then the declared rate or the fixed rate, you can allocate to, obviously, like you can currently on all of our products, if you want to know exactly what the return is going to be for that year. Okay? So when you're able to illustrate this, you will be able to illustrate this in the same platform where you use to illustrate life products and the fit single premium products on Foresight. So you can either just click on the illustration link here on the left under Business Tools, or you can hover over Marketing, and then in the middle on Illustrations, you can click Foresight. It'll bring you there. Lynn, I don't have a monthly performance on this. So I'm not sure which slide you're alluding to. Oh, the monthly sum? Yeah, I can go back and show that at the end. Perfect. All right, I think we should have a few more slides. Oh, here's an important piece here. And after questions, don't worry, there's 3 more slides, and they're my favorite slides. So you'll also be able to do the Fit Certain Income and the Fit Select Income on the agent app on your phone, and you can save them, and they'll show up in your actual software. David, it's an exception basis. There's always exceptions made for internal exchanges, but it really would have to not meet the client's goals. So you can pursue that. If it's very recently written, probably not going to make sense, but you can always pursue it. All right, so here is my favorite slide, because this is a decision tree. This decision tree is kind of reiterating everything we chatted about on this webinar today, and really boils it down to your questioning and an exercise to put prospects and clients through to make sure that the product you're recommending is in line with their goals, okay? It's very important. So, again, first thing we want to hash out is the time horizon. 10 years or less, 11 years or more. That's going to help us decide which way we want to go. After that, we want to know when they want to start accessing their money. And when they do that, do they want it in the form of a guaranteed income stream, or do they truly just want access to the money? It's as easy as that. So time horizon, we understand their risk tolerance is probably conservative to moderate if they're looking at an indexed annuity period, right? They clearly don't want a variable product for some reason. Usually it's because of market risk, usually because of some experience they've had in the past, or they don't have the time to weather another correction and expansion. So whatever the case may be, hopefully that's been flushed out. Now let's look at how long until you want to retire. Also, when you do retire, how do you want to receive money? Do you want it guaranteed? Or do you want to have access to the principal and go in intermittently and take out what you need to? Very conversational, but I just walked through this decision tree, and based on how a client would, participate on the other end of that conversation, I'll know which product is best for them based on what they said. Also, there's some more information on both the Barclays and the Bank of America Merrill Lynch GPA index. So I'll give everyone a second to read this. But again, it's essentially a subset of companies. Again, like I alluded to before, don't swing as wildly as the overall market historically. They have a lower standard deviation than most of their peers in the market. They are less volatile. All right, but we don't want any company that's not volatile. We got to make sure they're a large organization. So that's where the market cap comes in. We have to make sure the market cap's greater than $5 billion. And all market cap is the share price times the outstanding shares in the market. Okay, but that filter alone only really brings us large, strong companies. Okay. We have to make sure that 20% of the stocks from a given are not more than 20% are from a given sector, so we don't have sector exposure. Suzanne, there's no line in the sand for recently issued. If you can articulate a need that these current products provide that the other one doesn't, then you have a case. If that need is just not as strong, that's not much of a case. You did what you could at the time with the products that were available in that moment. But you can always call new business and explore these things on a case-by-case basis. What else? The ticker. So again, you're going to get this, but if you want to track it, here's the ticker. And then obviously this is a threshold, which means they take that percentage off the top, whatever it is. Here's an example with a 1.75% threshold. The index is up 8. The client will receive 6.25. All right, and last but not least, the BOA Merrill Lynch GPA index. Again, here's this ticker. Volatility controlled index consisting of a diversified asset classes. Okay, so this is across more sectors and not as specific on companies. So you're getting exposure to both fixed income, bonds, REITs, which are real estate investment trusts, which are historically very strong income producing positions in a portfolio, as well as equities. This is managed by BOA Merrill Lynch, so there's a stop loss mechanism built into this. If a given allocation's 20-day return falls below their threshold, and this is a black box threshold, they will limit exposure to that position. So there's a stop loss mechanism in place to help alleviate overall volatility. Okay. The ticker says TBD, but it's located on the top. And this is a participation rate strategy. So there's no cap, but there's a participation rate. So same example as before, 70% participation rate, index is up 8%. Client will receive 70% of 8 or 5.6. Okay. So with that, that brings me to the end of my slides. I'm going to go back to the monthly sum. Which is right before here, I believe. Here. So here's the monthly sum again. I forget who it was, but someone asked to see this slide. On the right-hand side, we have the index performance per month on that segment. David, I'm going to send out the rate sheet, so I'm not going to go to it, so you guys can write it down and then get an email from me with it. So you're going to get the rate sheet after this. Lynn, so we take all the positive months and we subtract out all the negative months. The upside cap here is 1.25. There's no cap on the downside. You can see here because you have a 3% negative. So we add all this up, which is 9%. We add all this up, which is 5%, and we take the difference. So 9 minus 5, client gets 4%. So you could have 11 great months and give it back. I'm not sure how many times that's happened in history, but I'm sure it has. Over the long term, this strategy historically outperforms the others. Clinton, what comparison slide? Again, everyone is going to receive a copy of this deck, so you'll have all the slides. All right, perfect. All right, so with that, I'm going to thank everyone for their time. I appreciate you all taking time out of your day. Again, you're going to be getting a copy of this deck. You're going to be getting a copy of the current rates. You will not be able to illustrate these products until the 20th. of this month, so a week from today. So we wish we could run them for you on the sales desk, but we cannot. We cannot. Blanca, there's recorded training on the website, which is another individual's, doing the narration for the same deck that I just went through. So maybe that can help you on demand if the webinar schedule doesn't work with your schedule. But thanks everyone for your time. Thank you for, all the work you do. Obviously, we've had a lot of success year over year, both on the annuity and life side, and wouldn't be able to do it without the hard work that each and every one of you do. So we are very indebted to you, and anything we can do to help you understand and position our products more accurately and concisely, hopefully that results in more sales for you and a higher close ratio. And if we're a byproduct, if we get some business out of that, we'll obviously take it with a big smile. But again, we appreciate your time. If you didn't get what you wanted out of this webinar on the products, we will be having others, so take a look at the calendar. Or if you just want to refresh before you start sitting down in schools as the school year picks up and you want to know this stuff cold, nothing wrong with going through it more than once. But thanks for your time. Have a phenomenal day, and we appreciate all the hard work.